47 jobs back in the day when we did that survey. Out of the 18,000 were Bahamians.
Okay, opportunity. Definitely there. Now, Gerard, one would say that being a master plumber kind of lends itself to opening into your own business. Tell us about your journey and how your business is birthed, because you not only stayed within your particular profession, but you ventured into other opportunities as well. So tell us, Gerard.
Thank you, Philip. Philip, the idea of me being an entrepreneur started from us about 16 years of age. When I came out of high school in '86, I always knew that I was not going to work for people long. So I took on various jobs. I started as a plumber apprentice, and my ego and my thought frame was to learn this trade and get whatever I can take from it, because I know I have to keep moving on. I was just having a conversation today with somebody, and I told them that I said every job opportunity that I took was a stepping stone, was a ladder for me to get to where I'm at today. And I honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, knew that I was not going to work for anybody much longer. I was going to work for myself. And back in 1999, when I decided to make that move, I knew that this was the time for me to do it, because I would have learned so many valuable things from all the jobs that I would have taken to get me to be a business owner. And if it wasn't plumbing, it would have been something else. And that's why you see me diversifying and venture into other business opportunities and business adventure. So if it was not plumbing, it would have been something else. But I technically was business savvy from the age of 16.
And come back to you on a word you used. You said your ego. I wonder if ego is necessary in order for one to excel and move in business. But I'm going to move on for a minute. I'm coming back to you on that, Gerard, and to all the panelists. You're 4-1. Greg, way back in the day, you worked for Lowe's, if I remember correctly. But that didn't last too long, did it? Tell us how you birthed in business.
Well, listen, man, just the spirit that one have inside them to become a businessman or entrepreneur, I believe, have to be developed from a real early age, whether they realize it or not. I think I might have been somewhere around 11, 12 that I assist in patching peanuts and bagging peanuts with my grandmother to send the bigger boys out to sell it. And I went on to filling carts, box carts, and renting it through the corner that I grew up. So that type thing is the beginning of one journey of becoming a businessman. As a matter of fact, he was already a businessman when you start to trade, when you receive money for service. So being in that type of environment only lend to who and what you could become later on in life. And of course, you mentioned that I work with Lowe's Wholesale, and being around certain people as an adult, and the things that you do for them, or the work that the task that you were given, and the drive that the people you around have lends to who you could and will become, I believe, in life. And that is some of the areas and the people that I get this drive of becoming a businessman from. You know, and it's simply, it actually extends into the sporting community, and the will to win comes from the ability to teach sports and to get ready, prepared. So when you combine that environment that you grow up in and the things that you see and the people you be around, and then you put together that sports, that a desire to win, I believe is where I get all these desires and all this drive I have to become a businessman.
Well, that the man started from a little boy. He started with peanuts, and look where he is today. Let's talk a little bit with Mr. once known as Mr. IBM. That didn't last too long. Now he's known as Mr. Sammy's Chicken. Keith, tell us how you started. And if the truth be told, the journey started way before that. Tell us how you birthed into business.
Well, just to correct you, not IBM, Xerox.
Xerox, correct.
Xerox, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at Xerox probably for about 25 years. And in my case, it was a matter of survival because at the time, the company was about to close down or shut down. And so we all scrapping, trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I decided that, I'll just do my own thing. I couldn't make up my mind what to do at the time. And we brainstormed, my wife and I, for a long time on what we ought to do, what we could do, create a family business. And there we had the opening of the Sammy's Chicken. But I worked there like 25 years. And one day we woke up and decided and found out the company was about to close. And I realized I was going to control my own destiny from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they say pressure is burst pipe. But if it don't burst pipe, it leads you into your new destiny. And that's exactly what happened to you.
Yeah.
But guys, I want you to tell me, what, I mean, Keith, you could have gone from that job to another job. What makes you not want to just stick with a job like us ordinary people who just work for somebody all our lives?
Well, realizing, for the 20, I enriched a lot of people in those 25 years, and I felt it was time now to get a slice of that pie on my own or for myself. And I ventured out into my own business.
Great. Why didn't you just stick with just working for somebody, keep an ordinary job instead of going on to your own? What's the drive there?
Nobody want me. Listen, like I say, if I go back, briefly, like I said earlier, there is something in I believe in business people that don't allow them to keep still, and if you have that itch, you only can get yourself in trouble on the job. It just don't work. When you have this itch about doing your own thing, keeping still, staying focused on the job is something that you would not be able to do when that starts to develop inside you. You can start cheating. You can start cheating the job. And I remember that I had I had some air fresheners in my back trunk that I would sell when I was selling the stuff for the people I was waiting for. So, that drive and that itch and that thing you see cause you to start to do things that will cause you to cheat on your job or deter you from, full focus on the place that you should have your focus on, which is the people who pay. And when that starts to happen, I think it's time for you to move, and that's what happened.
Like what you said, you started out and you made it a joke and you said nobody wanted you.
Sorry?
I like what you said at the beginning. You said nobody wanted you and it was a joke. But, the scripture has a verse for that. The stone that the builder rejects becomes the cornerstone. And now look at you today. You're on your own and making waves.
Let me tell you the real story. I leave my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't normally tell the story, but I went into my boss' office one day and I saw a picture of a little girl, a baby, might have been a few months old, right? And this baby would have been younger than my son. And then my boss was so proud to show me his granddaughter. Yeah. And so that was the daughter of his son. And, and when I look at the picture and I start to stare at the picture and he asked me what happened. And I told him, I say, you realize I am looking at my boss. And so a couple of weeks after that, I told him, I said, look, how much time I need to give you? Because I am out of here. And that was that was the beginning of my departure when I look at the picture. Here it is, an infant from, that'll be the second or the third generation of ownership. So I just didn't want to be a part of that. I'd rather be the friend of the family like I am now. I still have good relationship, and I'm out there doing my own thing.
I like that. It's called sculpting something out of nothing, as our opening remark said. You saw that you weren't prepared to be the third and fourth generation, but rather to build something so that your generation can be the boss. I like that. Gerard, why didn't you just stay in the ordinary work? I mean, you could have just worked for somebody and be a plumber all your life.
Well, Philip, like I said, I just knew that my destiny was to work for myself. When I entered the workforce after graduation, I had two opportunities: either join the police force, which I turned down, and I went into the plumbing field. Upon arriving on the plumbing field, I inserted myself to learn that trade as quickly as possible. So I will have that under my umbrella as something I can always fall back on, knowing that I want to own my own business. When I left the plumbing field, I went to work in a plumbing store for Tennyson Wells. And I learned so many valuable business things being a part of that company at that time, that it even inspired me more to learn more to how to operate a business. And when I thought that my time at that business was finished some 4 years later, I went to work. I wanted to work for another company that was giving their employees different business opportunity, managerial opportunities. And that company was Domino's Pizza. And I always remember this. I said, I want to be a part of that company because I want to learn. I want a company to teach me what they teaching their employees now or their managers. And I took a miniature management position. They were opening a store in Freeport and they wanted someone to manage the commissary. I took that job, and the commissary is just a warehouse full of stuff you deliver to the store. And that particular opportunity led me to want to go in the actual store. And when they put me into the actual store, after manager in training, that's when my business abilities and my leadership abilities started to kick in. And during that time, the opportunities just keep opening itself. They transfer my brother Dan, who was the air manager, back to Nassau and left me in Freeport. And I was saying, hey guys, I want to come out of Freeport as well. And they told me, no, you can't leave because you are our eyes and our eyes down here. We don't be here. And I took that to be a compliment. And a few months later, they decided they were having an issue with one of the stores down here in Nassau, and they asked me to come down to take over the store, to bring the store back to where it ought to be or where it used to be. And I came back to Nassau, worked there for 2 more years, and then I went back into the plumbing field. And when I went into the plumbing field, it was only to get me back into what I already knew in terms of plumbing, to get familiar, because I've been out of it for about 6-7 years. And after I worked for the Hilton, we renovated the Hilton in '99, I decided it's a time to move into my own space. And being a new homeowner, everyone's like, why would you want to stop working and start your own business if you just have a mortgage? I said, working for a company is not for me. And I took on the challenge. I weathered the storm. I had some good days. I had a lot of bad days. But the reward is what I'm seeing today. So I will not definitely knew that I was going to be to this point at some given day and time.
What I'm hearing from you is that there were always stepping stones to get into this place. You didn't just jump into it, but you moved from one thing and learned a lot and then moved into business. Floyd, tell us, why not just a job like ordinary people?
Well, Philip, to be quite honest with you, I was very happy with my job. I was making a whole lot of money and I loved the job. I feel that, and I was conflicted with the great wealth and conflicted with the demands that were being made on me to counsel or more time. So I had this, and I'm going to call it a spiritual conflict. Do I stay on this job and live a very, very, very good life? Or do I move into what I was considered purpose? And there was a purpose pulling on my life for me to do more work in counsel, more work in giving, more work in coaching and training people, so that I can open up or provide an opportunity for young people to see more than they were seeing. So I was sitting in the seat of conflict. And so I think I was driven out of my job, and not driven out of the job by my employers. I think spiritually I was pushed out. I was pushed out of the nest. And I had to, as a result of that, find the entrepreneurial opportunity that would give me more time. I would be master of my time to do the things that I was purposed to do, which means a lot of counsel to other people. I was now my master, and I can use my time as I saw fit.
Interesting. Guys, you see, we've come full circle. Some do it because they love what they do. Some people are here to help and serve people, and others just do it to pay bills. I'm gonna get really little controversial in a minute or two. And so we have a video. We have a video, just a little snippet on something that we're gonna share with you just now. And then we get back to questioning you guys.
Attention to the final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day. Eventually, they became who they are today.
Interesting little clip. We show that particularly because it speaks to the fact that people have a misconception that business is easy, or it starts out easy. They see your success and then they don't understand how you got there. I'm going to ask you guys, is it easy as people think? Keith.
Philip, no, it's not, well, all depends. When I got started in business, it was easy to get going and open up and to get it. But the hills and valleys along the way after that, sometimes wonder why you at it sometime, and but you stick at it. You stick with it because the rewards outweigh the negative stuff. But no, it's not easy. You need some stickability. You learn to get nimble, become flexible, and move with the different times. So you have to stick with it. It's rewarding.
But the long term is rewarding, but it's not always easy.
Correct.
Is it as easy as people think?
No, not as easy as people think. And that's why it's not for everyone. I think persons who are called, drawn into being entrepreneurs are unique people who will learn a lot more about themselves. And so it's a time for significant self-development, because you're going to be challenged in more ways than you would be if you're just on a job. You know, you're responsible for other lives, and sometimes you do without so that those who you employ can have, right? So it really tests and refines your character, your person.
Right. It's easy, right?
I mean, those two guys went ahead and answered that, and the reality of business is it's a grind every day. Anytime you have to manage people, anytime you have to go out and solicit business, anytime you have to sit in the front of bank managers and look for loan and overdraft and look at the safety around businesses, particularly if it entails people trafficking in and out. Nothing about that is easy. But what it does, it just bring out the best in who you are. Or sometimes it bring out things or you who or which you didn't know you even had in you. You know, the thing about business, I believe, is a lot of people must understand that it have expiry date. And Philip, I would have mentioned that to you sometime, that everything have expiry date. If you don't go and renew your business, like every day you go to church and you renew your commitment to Christ, and if you don't find ways to keep it going, it will expire. Every business have expiry date. As big as they come, it expires. And some fellas see it ahead of time, and before it expired under them, they sell it, or they bring in new partners and get it revamped. But nothing about business is easy. And business could be just as scary as pretty as it looks. Some people see a beautiful thing, and when you deep in, they wish they never put their foot in there. But there's nothing about it. There's nothing about it easy.
Right. Come on, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
tell me. You told me that you've been involved in several of them. It's easy, right?
Man,
These are
hey,
the
listen,
things let's go through.
Philip, if I start now, this could take all night, but I'll try to sum it up as quick as possible. It's not easy. And I also remember when I started working for myself, I get up every morning with no job, you know, and I throw on your uniform. I went to, at that time, Santee, get my uniform printed, get business card printed. Every morning I get up, I go drive around town, giving out cards. Every morning, same routine. Check, looking for different opportunities for someone to say, hey, I'm going to give you a chance. When some of those opportunities came about, it wasn't pretty. I had contractors who owed me money. I had sitting at their house 12 o'clock on a Friday evening, trying to collect a check. They are not showing up. You know, at one point I started to give up. And I always remember this. I followed an application to Crystal Palace at that time to work in the maintenance department. And they told me at that time, I had my journeyman's plumbing license at that time. And they said, I'm overqualified. I said, overqualified? Like, what you mean I'm overqualified? You need a job. I'm a plumber. You're all hiring maintenance guys. And they said, no, you're overqualified. And right then, the light bulb clicked in my head that, you know, Gerard, a 9 to 5 or working for a paycheck on a Friday is not going to cut it for you. So you have to make this work. And I continue my CM retriment daily, going out, looking for opportunities. You know, I got a few good opportunities, made some bad choices, entering some other businesses, trying to get them going to expand and to to grow my business network. And like Greg said, you know, everything have an expiration date. So you have to always continue to build and add on to what you already have, because when one door closes, the next one have to open. And I continue that. And what you're saying today is because of all of those mornings that I would have gotten up and go to these different places to solicit business or solicit opportunities to expand my company.
Wow. So it tells us, guys, that you're challenged at times, they're difficult times, but there are also successes. Before we talk about achievement and successes, tell us at least about one challenge that you had that you overcame.
Well, Philip,
The question is directed at me first, or?
You can go ahead. Yes, go ahead first, Gerard.
Well, back in 2009, when the recession hit, at that time, my company was doing fairly good. And I thought I was at the top of the ladder. And at that time, I was working for a company, and the owner said to me, Gerard, the recession is coming. Try to save some of your money, don't spend it all. And I didn't listen. I went and I opened up a sports bar, you know, trying to get that going. That failed. And the recession came the same time. So all of my liquid cash went down the drain with that company at that time. And what I decided at that point, because after that, I had the bill collectors coming to me left, right, and center. Remember now, all my liquid cash is gone. Company is failing. No plumbing contract is going on. And I said to myself, Gerard, whenever you come out of this recession, you're going to make some changes. You're going to make some wise business choices. And that's what I did. So that's one of the challenges that I overcame. I started to make wise business decisions. So without a doubt, it made me a better business owner.
I like the word that Gerard used, wise. I'd like to add a few letters to that and call it, I sought wisdom in setting up the business. And even before, you know, I don't want to talk about just the singular business. My philosophy has always been that you should have 4 revenue streams, at least 4 revenue streams. And this is something through, you know, Bible teaching and all that is based in, you know, how the Garden of Eden was brought nourishment. And it said through four rivers. Now, 2 of these are supposed to be very passive. So you have to build business that is passive, that don't require 100% of your time or very little of your time, but they still bring revenue. So I just want to say that out front. So if that is there, then you have things working in the background. But my business, Aquamarine Agency, was built on cruise ship business. You know, we make 100% of what we earn from providing crew to the cruise ships. And you guys know what happened in February, March. They stopped coming. So it wasn't like it dwindled down, it disappeared, right? 100% disappeared. So thankfully, you know, we diversified what we did, right? Now that represents a large portion of what we did, but we also pushed into the cargo business and we pushed into other business. So that is what is sustaining us now. But like everyone else, you know, we're waiting for the cruise ships to come back. You know, we've been interviewing now for the past month and a half, you know, to get Bahamians back on those keys and all that stuff. But the point is that overnight, that disappeared, gone, not trickling out, gone.
Gone. Yes.
Gone.
We can talk a little bit more about how the pandemic has affected all businesses.
Yeah.
I just want Greg to tap in about a challenge that he had and how he overcame. Greg?
I think I didn't have a whole lot. I'll be honest with you. I guess some of the biggest challenge I had in my whole business career, or one of the main ones, was a massive suitcase that I was able to win, and that was a lifelong experience, to go through a whole court system, the whole court system, when people believe that the court is only there for the ones who would be visiting your business, or the customer, not there for the business owner. And that was one of the biggest challenge I had, but I was able to overcome it just by, I guess, getting the right people to fight for you. So without going into too much detail, some of these things exist as part of struggling in business, and some of the potholes that you could find yourself in, and going through the court system, in a case like that, it's a hurdle that I think we overcome, and I was proud about that.
Keith.
Yeah. Well, I guess the biggest challenge for me was, after working for, a company for 25 years, you become so comfortable. You don't really have a care. Every Friday you get a paycheck. There's no real challenge there. You go home, you're not concerned about who turns off the lights, who turns off the air conditioning, who pays the light bill. So everything's broken, the company fix it. Now, when you become your business owner, it's your responsibility. The buck stops with you. So you have to learn structure. You have to learn organizational skills, patience. It's a thing that I was able to acquire. There's a whole lot of stuff that you tend to learn when you go out on your own. You take these things for granted while working for people. But when you're the head fella in charge, the buck stops with you. And those things are your concern now.
Yeah. It's like when you're telling your children, right? One day you're going to see, the lights and the fan and everything that you've been raising, one day you're going to see. And it's the same thing when you go into business. Now you understand why the former bosses you had were so adamant about certain things being done.
Exactly.
Now I talk in politics, but let's get into it. The pandemic, every business must have been hit in some way or another, as Troy alluded. I speak candidly about how you were affected by the pandemic. Gerard, you first.
All right, thank you. Well, to tell you the truth, Philip, with my plumbing business, it did not affect it at all. I mean, we had a few weeks of lockdown, and then they opened up the construction industry. And fortunate for Caribbean Plumbing, the list of clientele that we have are mostly foreigners or persons who are building second homes or third homes in the Bahamas. So those contracts was already pre-existing, and they just continued. So it didn't affect the plumbing aspect of it. But I also operate a boat tour company, and it kind of hindered that, because some days we have bookings and then you have a lockdown. So the whole idea of persons coming in to want to go see the beautiful islands of the Bahamas kind of dwindled away for during this time. So, but other than that, it's been pretty good for me as a business owner. And what it did for me was it allowed me to start to prepare myself for whenever or when the economy revamp itself and reopens up. So I start to focus on marketing my company and my businesses, so that it'll be ready for the opportunity when it comes around. And I want to say this, that we always say that success is opportunity, preparation when meets opportunity. So if you ever want to be successful, you have to prepare, because once the opportunity comes, you have to be ready to grab it and take advantage of it in order to become successful. If you don't prepare, you'll never reach that success plateau that you're aiming at.
Real talk, Gerard, real talk. Like you say, you gotta prepare for when the opportunity comes. And then when the opportunity is there, things happen. Now, Greg, tell us the truth, man. Everybody still needed gas, so surely you weren't affected. That's the truth.
Well, first of all, I don't know how the pandemic get political, right? So, I mean, I see you clear that up before you start, but it has nothing to do with politics. It's a worldwide thing. And anytime you have, my business is very fragile. It's a fragile business, and it's like, and just like any food service business, the business itself is a twofold business. It's an essential service, and of course, it is the section which they call the C-store, which is the food service section. And anytime you have closure and the reopening and the long closure, and you don't have the revenue in a controlled business like this, like the gas business, which the government controls the markup. You know, I don't have a business like some guys who they could determine based on the expense of their business that what the profit margin will be. I'm in a government controlled business. So anytime you in that type business when, well, the government don't seek to change their margin on your responsibility to them because they need more and more at this time. And I'm talking about from the utilities position and that whatever other responsibilities you have to the government, but they control your margin. It has to affect your business. It has to affect your business real bad. So the answer to that is the pandemic affect our business real bad. We get a very, very hard hit. And we're not by ourselves. I know we're not by ourselves, but we might be in a worse position because of the control environment. See, I can't go back and say I lost a couple of dollars last 2 months because we were closed for 2 weeks and I changed the markup. I can't do that. So what I lost is what I lost. I can't never catch that back up. So this will be I guess the turning point for me on whether I go forward, future, or just detour and do something else, you know, in the future.
Interesting. Now, we talked a lot about the downside of business, but surely if people stick in it, there must be a lot of benefits. Tell me, guys, what are the benefits that you derive? Personally, the things that you get from it and the things that you enjoy by being in your own business. Troy, you first.
Well, to be quite honest, the greatest benefit that I get from being an entrepreneur is my time. I get time back. It allows me to start work very, very early in the morning. I could start at 3 o'clock if I want, and then I can go into the office at 11 if I want. I've made my business a virtual business. And so when the pandemic came, it was easy for us to have staff work from home. So for me, the most important is time. Time.
What's the benefit?
The benefit? Well, time is a great benefit, man.
You did. I was asking Greg.
Oh, okay.
You asking me? Oh,
Yeah, what's the benefit?
oh, I think I like Troy answer. You know, I don't know which business want to tell you anything with any benefit, but you keep beating around to see. You know, but time is a big thing. To have the I guess the opportunity to give people opportunity to work for you. That's always rewarding to help train people, and actually to see people grow and be able to take over. In my case, to see if they could take over and you could leave, and they do what needed to be done, and you're satisfied when you come back. You know, so that's rewarding. And notwithstanding that the money itself, the reason and the main reason you go into business is for the money, to be able to buy things, you know, and to provide for your family, you know. So that's all. However, you know, sometimes you could have money today in business and tomorrow you have nothing. The thing about a fellow who go to work, he get paid every day. If he have a shortfall, I got to pay the people and I don't get nothing, you know. So there is some ups and downs, and so you just got to take the bit of the street, you know. But it's got to be rewarding. You know, the thing about benefit in business, when you in anybody, you either throw up your hand and stop, or you move on slowly and take the blows to make sure you get through the rough days.
Thank you, guys, for your responses there. We're getting some really good questions from our audience. Helen Bartlett, Old Holy Cross member, we so happy to see you on with us tonight. And our question is, are there opportunities for small business loans? I'm thinking particularly of young people who may not have access to the initial capital. You know, a business that fails is always one that is undercapitalized. Are there opportunities for small loans?
I think the senator have to answer that question.
Yeah. Well, listen to me, man. I really wanted to answer that because as a government, right, and as a people in our country, we fool ourselves by saying, and I'm talking about the PLP government and the FNM government, when they say they have small loan programs. Both of them have these small loan programs and designed to make people fail. There's no business in this country today you could start unless it's selling peanuts with $5,000 to buy, to have any storefront, to open up, to get a first and last month rent, to pay, how you say, deposit on light or deposit on water or deposit on phone, but you don't have no more money, your $5,000. So it's a design for people to fail. And I think a lot of them have to scrap the idea. It is my belief, and to answer the question from Helen, okay, you know, I hope that there will be soon somebody comes up with the idea that a small business person in the simplest business you can find would probably need someplace in the neighborhood of $50,000 to start something. Because if you can't sustain your salary for a couple of weeks, then you fail again because the business wouldn't make it right away. You can't pay your light bill for a couple of months, you fail. You know, so $5,000 or what is it, small business loan they have? That's just I think it's a reason to give people money, and I maybe should go take out one of those loans myself. You know, because you can't.
Greg, isn't that for like more small home businesses? If you've heard of the SBDC program, they give in loans up to, or guaranteeing loans up to $500,000. So certainly there must be some opportunities. The little small grants of 5,000 is one thing, but then you can get opportunities up to 500,000. I have that information.
Okay, well, good, but you better share that with Ellen.
Is that opportunity for the for everyone or for a select few? I mean, the opportunity might be there, Philip, of the 500,000. I remember some years ago, I wanted to open a plumbing store, and I went to the bank, what you call it, the Bahamas Development Bank, and I needed some 55,000 at that time. I already went ahead, got a store location, paid first and last month rent, got my business license, and only to be turned down because nobody sent me there. No, I'm telling you the
Oh
truth.
my goodness.
Yeah.
No,
but listen to what I'm saying to you though. The SBDC program, which is meant to, first of all, mentor people, usher them so that they have a successful business plan. They then turn you over and guarantee your funds. So you're talking about a time when that program may not have existed, but I want the Bahamian people to know that there is a current program. And if properly structured, there may be an opportunity. It's a maybe.
So it sounds like you straight for your business venture.
You know, the cost of doing business in the Bahamas is so high, man. It doesn't lend any encouragement to doing business at all. I mean, you could get yourself buried out there if you don't be careful. You know. Yeah. There's really
Especially in the retail key.
There's really no help out there, man. I mean, you're really on your own, Philip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very difficult, and you know, you have to go to. Well, currently, I know what I had to do is I had to rely. Well, good thing that I was in the bank, so I don't know if that helped. Before I went into business for 25 years, but I had to rely on my commercial bank, which means I'm paying extraordinary rates and you know, all sorts of demand. Everything that I own is tied up in mortgages and stuff like that. But that's the price we had to pay because there was just, you know, small business loans. By the time you jump through the hoops and all that stuff, the business closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to take sometimes you have to take the fast route, and that's your commercial bank. And then of course it means that your rates are going to be very high.
If I listen to you guys, I would say, boy, nobody else should enter business. Is that the case? Is that what you guys are telling us?
Well, Philip, it isn't for the faint of heart.
Yeah,
You know,
we agree on that.
so obviously you must really believe in the dream that you have and be prepared to push through, realizing that, like Keith said, some of those mountains are going to be good mountains, but some of those valleys are going to be very deep.
Mhm.
Yes.
So that's the message that we want to get across to persons who want to enter. It ain't for the faint of heart. You have to have a strong constitution, a clear vision, and then you have to push through.
And you have
Is
to
that
be
the message we're given?
you have to
Yeah.
be committed. You have to be committed. You have to be consistent. You must be committed, one, and you have to be two, consistent. But three, you got to be goal oriented.
Right.
You have to have a goal for what you want. You cannot look at someone else and say, I want to do this because I see Philip doing it. It has to be something that you purpose in you, your goal, and what you want to do. So commitment, consistency, and goal oriented.
That's how important is it?
Well, Norman Solomon said, someone once asked him, how do you go into a business? How do you become good at business? How do you become successful? He said, it's very simple. He said, you find a void and you fill it.
Yeah.
And that's really what business is all about. Now, of course, there's some risk in that, but that's what it boils down to. You find a void and you fill it.
Whenever there's a need, there's an opportunity.
And you have to realize too that just because you see the void doesn't mean that that they're going to come run into you tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know, in my business, you know, I did all sorts of projections, 5-year projections that to me look very well and everything. And it wasn't until the 6th year that the stuff that I had projected to happen in the first year came to my door. So, you know, I had to tread water for 5 years, you know, and be creative with other things, you know.
Yeah.
So these notions have to be wide and very well planned out.
I could let me just say something. You know, business is so tough to get into today because the guys who understand the expiry date of business has been diversifying for years now, and the public like big and pretty things, so it makes it very difficult for a small person to begin its business.
So true.
Every business that is big in this island right now, say one time ago, the business license people used to control what happened in this country. We wasn't aware of it until they opened the floodgates and allow one person to sell everything from clothes to lumber. But when that type thing happened, being a distributor, from me being on that end of the spectrum in business, I don't have time to be racing with you being a small mom and pop store who can buy 12 of my items from my wholesale or distributor company and may not pay me for it when I could go and deal with the fellow who can buy 5,000 and I can give him a reduced price and he can pay for it in a week or two. So it is difficult when we talk with small business and the development of small business. As long as these fellas continue to grow the way they are and expand the way they are, the challenge will always be there for us to find the breakthrough point. And I must say there are breakthrough points, but you have to keep plugging at it. But it's very difficult because right now, all of us on this chat, except Troy, have a business that we could find in one business on this island. If you all understand what I'm saying. There is a business on this island that you could find everything that Keith sell, that I sell, and even plumbing products. You understand? And it's only a matter of time before they get into the other stuff. So it's very difficult for an individual. So you just have to keep plugging at it, keep finding ways. And, you know, I like when people talk about their business. I like to hear that. And then when you really get down to it, you know, they're not making any money. They catch any tiny hell because it's not there. I mean, our country itself still speaks to a group of people doing business with each other. And until we start to group ourselves where we do business with each other, as small business people, you'll always have this struggle because you can't get the big money. You can't get the big sales. So the only thing you have is yourself together to make it happen. And then there's a issue arises with, right? Anytime a bunch of broke fellas get together, boy, that's a fight. So the issue arises, who get paid when you get paid, how much you get paid. You ain't going
I think if I can add to what Greg's saying, what he's saying is that the field, what the field isn't level. We don't have a level playing field. Is what Greg is trying to say.
And what do we have to talk a little bit later about what do we do to level that playing field. I'm getting in a comment from Mr. Tony Gomez, and he said, just a reminder that the Bahamas Entrepreneurial Venture Fund is available for lending of $50K to $100K. However, it is generally available for businesses other than bars, beauty salons. Such successes are road tripping, Bahamas shedding, etc. So there's opportunity through the venture capital fund available of lendings from $50K to $100K. So I have a question.
Let me say, I like how Tony put that striping company, you know, because see, it then goes back key to the level playing field. You got one fella can lend these guys $50,000 or $100,000, and then the other fella's give him the contract to pay it back in 2 weeks. So, I don't understand.
Tell me, guys, because the picture seems a little bleak at points. Why are you guys sticking it?
I can actually.
Let me go ahead. Like I said earlier, if you are a goal-oriented person, ain't nothing that's going to deter you from what you believe in or what you desire or what you want to accomplish. So if you have that goal, you're gonna stick it out. You're gonna persevere. You're gonna do what it takes to make it happen. And like I said, in my instance, I did what it takes to make it happen. I went out. I keep going. I never varied. I never got tired. I never gave up on hope. I always knew that this is my destiny, and I was goal oriented to make this happen. And even today, like outside of what I've accomplished in my business, I speak to other persons to encourage them in their business aspirations. So it's all about being goal oriented, Philip.
Hey, why you stick with it?
I can't wait for anyone anymore, Philip. I have to do this. I have to carry through, and so it causes a need or created the need for diversification, and this is why you need to diversify. So when one business is up, the other one may be down, vice versa. But you stick with it because that's what you do, that's what you know. You become good at it, and you go with the flow. You become agile and you move.
Right. Why do you stick with it?
I don't have no choice. Like I told you earlier, nobody want to hire me anymore. When a fella come to you and the fella say, "Boy, listen to me," I say, "Man, that my wife don't work, so I have to be earning 2 salaries, one for me and one for her. So who can pay me that? So when you get your thing going, I'll be happy to come.
No. But if you could earn you and your wife's salary, sound like money in this thing.
But you have to make money in it if you want to.
You have to make it happen.
You have to make it happen.
There you go. Troy, why do you stick it out?
Well, for a combination of things, but basically what the gentleman have said before, you can't go back. I cannot go back into mainstream work for someone. That
Right? If you wasn't making no money, you'd have to, eh?
No, Philip, that can't happen. right? I'll have to go there and
No
sell.
money.
I'd have to go back and
No
sell
money.
parched peanuts. No,
That's right.
no, Philip. But the truth is, I mean, some of the stuff that Keith and Greg has said, right, is the key is in allowing your creative juices to flow, right? And you become very creative, and that is called diversification.
Yeah.
You see opportunities that other people don't see. And during this pandemic, that is what is on my desk. I have opportunities are coming in now because you know, the normal way of doing business has been disrupted, and I have clients out there now who are looking for change, and so those opportunities are coming forward.
I like that. I'm hearing more that there's opportunities, that once you go this way, you don't want to go back because you realize that there are opportunities, there are benefits derived, but you got to work hard.
Very hard.
Very hard. We have a question from one of our own members. He said, if we compare entrepreneurship to a traffic light, what should be our red light? What we should not do? What should be our yellow light? What should be cautious about? And finally, our green light. What should we do right away?
That's a
loaded question.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question. Let me read it again. If we compare entrepreneurship to a traffic light, what should be a red light? What should we not do? What should be a yellow light? What should we be cautious about? And what should be a green light? What should we do right away?
Okay, let me see if I can take a stab at that question.
Mm-hmm.
The red light simply telling you, stop making bad decisions.
But what is the red light? How do you know what is a bad decision?
Well, a bad decision is something that you know within your gut that you should not do, or you should not even consider, right? So you have to have the gut feelings that, hey, this don't feel right. This is not going to work. Now with the yellow light tells you to pause, to look at what is around you, to look at what opportunity this particular situation is going to bring to you. And then the green light is simply to say, you done look at the red light, you didn't make a bad decision. You view what is around you. Now let's go for it. Let's make this thing happen. And that's basically what it is.
Let me see if I could try, because I mean, I don't know if that's the answer. Let me see if I can come as close as I believe. I believe this question, Gray, it will be different for different type businesses. I believe, I'm not sure. So if I am to say the things that you should do, green light. Well, the green light, if you in my business, that you should always prepare yourself. And when I say prepare yourself, make sure that your place is appealing. Make sure that your staff is appealing. Make sure you have good service. Make sure the things that you're offering to the public is in what I would say, a healthy, attractable manner. The pricing is attractive. If you want to be cautious, I think the yellow light should be, be cautious of who you hire. Make sure you do good due diligence on the people you put around your business, because particularly in my business is heavily cash intense, and so you have to be very cautious of that. Be cautious of your own movement, how you move around. For example, I'll tell you, I don't take anything out of my store in a paper bag. So if my wife asks me to bring a loaf of bread home, I would bring the loaf of bread from my place in my car in the thing by itself. So I'm happy for no bag things going on now, because I've been doing it for years. I don't carry paper bag. I try not to carry bulge pockets, because people watching. So that would be a cautious thing in business. The red light is, did I say the red light is simply in my mind to always be alert. always be alert. So it's pretty close to the cautious thing because I am in a very, 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 or highly watched business because of the cash and intensity. You know, it's a highly watched business. So try to watch your movement, and that's the stuff you should or shouldn't do. You know, I am not sure how much I could add to the red light, but just stop giving bad service. I mean, you know, just the opposite of the things I think you should do. You know, it would be the red light, but the one would I think trigger me the most is the cautious one, and the ones that you should do. You know, like you should have customer service, good customer service. You should have good, clean, tasty, low price food if that's what you're selling. And in the case of gas, I can't control that. You know, you should do good marketing to make sure attract people. When they get there, they should be appealing. You know, and I think these are the things if I contribute any to that traffic light question, you know.
If I could add to the yellow light, not so many others, but I would say yellow light to me, and what I've learned is, you know, because of COVID and other things, not yellow light to me would be not become complacent when there's a boom or when things are going well. You should always try and stay ahead. You should look forward to the valley that's coming, things on the horizon. That in my mind is a yellow light. A red light would be something like, you know, not let your business hold you hostage. Your business ought to be able to work without you. You can't be, while you want to be married to your business, you cannot, the business ought to be able to work without you. If that is happening, you have a problem. So you ought to be able to take a vacation. You ought to be able to take a day off. Those are red lights for me. I can't come with a good green light, but I guess a green light, if it's cheap, it's not cheap. If it's a good deal, get it. But if it's a good buy it.
Yeah.
Good buy it. You know.
Say the old white fellas say buy low and sell high.
Yeah.
I guess the traffic light example for me is red light for me would be spending more than you can ever achieve. So you have to be very prudent fiscally. We can't continue to be like the government bringing in these unbalanced budgets, right? I think we need to be very careful with deficit spending in your business. So for me, that's red light. Yellow light is when signing contracts with clients, you need to do your due diligence to make sure that you're getting in bed with someone, right, who is honorable, right?
And partners, eh?
Well, I'm going to get to partners later. So for me, a yellow light is that you should always have caution when you sign in these contracts with service providers or whatever. Do your due diligence to make sure that these are honorable and upstanding people or companies. And then green light for me is the same thing with partners. Remember, I believe in the four-prong thing. So I will own a company outright, but I'm looking for partners in those other companies. So I'm looking for people with the same passion, with the same skin in the game, right? With the same commitment, with the same devotion and all that. And if I find that in a partner, then that's a green light for me to go ahead.
Utopia.
Close to it, because you're never gonna find it.
Yeah.
You know, there's an old saying that says, if you're in business, if you want to be successful in business, location. How important is where the kind of business you have is located?
Well, COVID threw that out the window. It looked like this modern times sort of threw that out the window with Amazon and all this online business we have today. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how true that is today. I guess it still exists to some level, but with the online business right now, right now, even with gas, there are some mobile gas trucks that going around delivering gas to homes for your car.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know if location. I don't know if that is relevant anymore. But it still exists, I think, to a point for some business. But I guess the new order of business today is It's delivery. What it
I,
all.
I think in the retail business, the retail business is more important. In my business, it is not a factor at all.
Yes, and for me, my businesses are run a home operator based business where I don't need a physical location. So social media, internet, technology, I can provide service to you by just a phone call or a click of a mouse. So the location don't really have to be an important aspect of your business or any business that you decide to go into in this modern day and time.
Mm-hmm. Look at the new industry lately, guys. The Cravens, all the delivery companies now that are now picking up and delivering for you. I mean, it's a whole new, and these guys are thriving. They're doing well. Greg, could you buy gas with Craven now?
Good. Good.
Yeah, I mean, these guys go to the grocery store for you. They go to the pharmacy. I mean, so it's a whole new industry. And so this location thing, I could run a business from my home now and have stuff picked up and delivered to you. So the location thing is kind of going, I think, out the window. Maybe it'll change after we go back to normal, but I don't know.
How easy is it for you to make your businesses online?
Say it again.
Making your businesses online with delivery.
Yeah, you must. It's a must. In retail, you must. It's a must. It's a must. You lose your trade if you don't.
I have another question from the floor. Considering the Bahamas is a developing nation with its population of about 350,000 people, do you think more business opportunities are there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like he just mentioned about the delivery service, there's so much other stuff that you could offer in this country that you can make a dollar. And I think what really hurts a lot of us, we believe we need to make that dollar $1 million in a short period of time. But if you stick with it and you make $1 a day, eventually you're going to make your $1 million. And so take on small businesses. You may have a business where you deliver pencils to schools. You selling pencils. So you go to every school in this island and you deliver the pencil at a low price, and you collect $5 from every school every month. Then that's a business. That's an extra income coming into you just by offering that particular one product.
Another question for you. How do you deal with persons who try to dismantle your business from within, i.e. staff? Read that again. How do you deal with persons who try to dismantle your business from within, i.e. staff? What's that?
You fire them.
Fire them.
You get rid of them, yeah.
Man, you sound like Trump.
No, well, I was faced with a situation just recently, actually, where I had someone working for me that was trying to undermine my business and trying to encourage the other workers to leave and go work elsewhere. So, when what happened was this day came to an end because I let him know that, this relationship is not working anymore. And, it's cheaper we just severing ties and go our separate ways.
Anything else? Want to comment on that particular question?
Philip, I have not had that challenge. I've only been in business going on 7 years now for myself, and I have a small hand-picked staff. But what I would say from being in corporate Bahamas is, I think company owners, institutions do not spend sufficient time vetting properly the people who you allow in your organizations. I personally believe, right, that we need to spend more time in investing in human capital to get the right person. In most cases, we're in a desperate situation. You hire someone quickly, But if you spend the time investing in the people, make sure that their lifetime vision for whatever they have for themselves fits into what you have for your company, you would get better employees, and I think it'll go a longer way in ensuring that your company is successful. But we rush it and we don't do it properly.
So like that.
Totally agree, yes.
Do we believe that? Go ahead, Keith.
Go ahead. No, I agree with Troy, but I'm on the other end of the scale. Troy has those high dollar, high value pay salaries that for his, but
we don't.
I'm picking from a lower income stream group of people in most cases, and it's difficult, man. It's hard. I mean, you got to train people how to live sometime. It's hard, and so education level, problems at home, lots of kids. It's a problem. Want to bring the baby to work because they have no babysitter. So, my mom found herself becoming a what do you call it? A counselor rather than administrator. She was a counselor for most of my staff, teaching life skills. And so when you pick from a different level or a different scale, I was going to use another word, you have different kind of people. And, to do some things in my place, you don't need to have really a college education. And we have some issues, guys, with our workforce.
I believe that the way we treat
Yeah.
employees can buy.
Philip, we could hardly hear you.
Do you believe that the way we treat our employees can buy loyalty?
To a certain degree, Philip, and reason why I said that is, and alluding back to your previous question, in my company, I train every individual who works for me now. He came as an apprentice, so their skill set is everything they learned from what I would have taught them, and the way I treat them and the way I encourage them to, hey, this is where I started. You could be here just as well in years to come. So I try to inspire them to not to see this year as just a working environment, but to see this where you could become a successful business person in your own right. So you have to understand and learn the things that will help you get to that point. So my encouragement is always not only in the financial aspect, but also in the way I speak with my employees, the way I interact with them, the relationship I have with them outside and inside of the workforce, knowing their situations and stuff like that, being mindful of situations that they may be going through. So to me, I have a good deal of loyalty within the crew of persons I have around me.
Philip, I am a strong advocate of that. I think the way we treat people goes a long way in ensuring loyalty. The challenge is if it's the right people, right? And I think so. Again, I used to tell my human resources manager, every problem that I'm having with an employee is your challenge, is your problem. You made an error because you allowed people through the gate who possibly shouldn't have been through the gate. So what I practiced every year when I was in another place was during the month of January, I used to be in the bank. Oh Lord, I hope the bank don't hear this. But instead of loan appointments, I schedule appointments with the employees because I needed to know what their expectations were. And then I needed to know what was unacceptable for them and whether I can just float them between great expectations and what is unacceptable. When I found that I was unable to do that, then we started talking about an exit possibility, because the job that I was offering you is no longer able to give you the expectations that you have. So we have a 3-month period for you to find something else to do. I was real with this stuff, right? And in a lot of cases, I was helping people find other jobs or helping them find their passion, right? So that you retain the people who want to be there before that turns south.
Greg, any thoughts on that?
Say something to me.
Loyalty, that you will get loyalty from staff members depending on how they're treated.
I mean, I think you do. I have a lot of instances where just giving persons who somebody else don't think is deserving of an opportunity, just give them the opportunity to be the manager or to act in the supervisor position and give them the responsibility. You one or two of them would fail you, and over the years in my business they have. But for the most part, most people want the opportunity to be empowered. They want to be the boss. They want to have responsibility. And you'll be surprised to know with the training, because in our business we do monthly training from the corporate level, and you'll be surprised to know that what you could do with somebody who you believe don't have the level of interest or education coming into the business when you give them the training of the business. They could just learn that business and master it. So I think, and they will be loyal to you, because I can tell you right now that I have a whole lot of loyal people. You know, we locking up, opening up, and they have keys for the place. And, you know, I have one or two of them who actually have access to some things that they wouldn't give them access to, you know, so.
Some paper stuff.
I hear you. I'm gonna give you one more of the questions from the floor, and then we're gonna actually open up the mic for persons who have questions that they wish to ask based on the discussion tonight. But the question I'm gonna, this one is real talk. How do you handle pressure from utility providers to tip in order to get timely and efficient service? If you don't pay, services will be delayed or denied.
Well,
How do you
in my,
handle pressure from utility providers?
well, over the years, well, I would just don't speak directly to a utility company, but a government entity. And in the plumbing or in construction field, we have something we call inspections. And one is required to have inspection done on any work that is being done in a particular building. And normally, now I don't see it happening much now, but back in the day, the inspector will not come out there unless you grease in that pocket. You know, like I said, you know, it has changed a lot over the years, but that was a known fact. If you put in your inspection form, it goes to the bottom of the pile, and the inspector will pick up someone else on who was taking them to do the inspection and greasing their pocket. So it is a challenge, I'm sure, in terms of the other utility company where you may need your light to turn on to get your store open up, and you know, and they telling you that you need to wait 3 to 4 weeks. That's the mandatory time, you know. But if you tip me, you could get it in today.
Any other comments as it relates to utility provision?
Can't hear you too well. What's the question again, Philip?
How do you handle utility providers who are often asking for tips in order to provide the service that you need?
Oh, I don't need to answer that. I never had that.
You didn't have that one.
We're not affected by that either.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem. But it helps if you have a sister to work at a utility company.
And I say real talk.
Yeah.
Let's open up the floor. I'm just gonna ask the persons from the audience to wave your hands, and one of the moderators will tune into you and let us know who the person is asking the question, what the question is. Guys, it's all off the book now. Any questions? Don't be shy. Okay, well, let me just go back And if you have a question,
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Anthea Lewis. One of the
That's
first
me.
people to sign up too. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. My question is, what effective incentive schemes would you recommend to motivate employees to stay loyal?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
What effective incentive schemes would you recommend to motivate employees to stay loyal?
What effective schemes, employee schemes would you implement to have effective employee schemes that will provide loyalty?
Well, there's a couple of the simple stuff with the employee of the month, employee of the year, where, you know, they would get a, you know, like a bonus or some special privilege or, you know, something of that sort. Those things work.
Okay. Is that short term? Because I win it this month, but if I don't win it after 4 months, then I'm out again with the boss.
Yeah. I don't believe. I mean, that's all good and well, but I think you can't buy loyalty. I don't think you could buy loyalty, like I say. But what you can do, make sure that everything you do tie into every scheme you create or you implement have to be sales driven. It have to be something that the company makes so it could give. And I think in most cases, most employees will appreciate. And please, this isn't. I don't think I'm answering your question directly because I don't believe you could give them anything for them to be loyal to you. I think that's something that they have to decide upon themselves. But you can do things to satisfy them, keep them happy. But that thing you do have to be driven by things that they do, because no company could survive giving out even employee of the month or week and it have something attached to it every week. It have to be driven by something. So something driven by sales, for example. In my business, I do a thing for the guys outside, and it is attached to a jug of oil that they sell. And every time that encourages them to check car engines and all that stuff. If they sell one, I give them couple cents off the oil itself at the end of the week, you know, and they keep records and receipts and all that type of thing. That keep them sort of engaged, and and I give an extra bonus for the one who sell more than anybody else, although everybody get for what they do, but the one who sell the most get a little more. But as far as being loyal, well, I think that's something that they just have to have in them. I haven't seen somebody that you could buy their loyalty. That's what I'm saying. I don't see something that you could encourage them to be loyal. I've never seen that in my business.
Philip,
You probably can't buy loyalty. Yeah, but money is a great motivator.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
That's why I say, and it have to be driven by them.
Right.
Because no business have money just to give to somebody because they did their work.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. My approach is different, right? Well, first of all, I truly, honestly, genuinely believe that the people are the greatest assets in any company, right? So let's just say that fundamentally. Now, second to that is that I don't believe that, I don't like this long-term loyalty thing, right? Because I'm not looking for employees who can, I have a challenge if you want to stay 25 years in my company, right? I really do, right? So what I intend, what I try to do is I try to get to know who these people are. What are your aspirations? And in most cases, I got people who using me, like Gerard said earlier, as a stepping stone, right? Because I believe that the company is an ongoing concern that will last forever, not the individual parts. I don't believe I will be there forever. I don't believe that the employee should be there forever. But if you come and you serve me for 2 years and it's stellar service, I'm happy to let you go. because I believe that there's other people out there who we could train to be just as good. You see, and so if you're kind of helping people, right, achieve their own personal goals, right, by spending time with you and then moving on, I think for the time that they're with you, you get loyalty.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree with you, Troy. And what I try to do, I make them feel like they are part of the company. And like I said earlier, you know, I inspire them. I try to give them aspirations to want to, don't stay at this, don't look at it as you stay in here or you working. Use it as a learning mechanism for when your opportunity come to be a business owner. And that's what I try to embark on and instill in my employees. And like I said, I mean, loyalty is based on your genuine concern for individuals. That's the bottom line. And
Now,
that's
I have
the
a
biggest.
question.
Can I just make one more comment there? On the financial side now, when I do a budget for an employee, let's say the salary of that employee is going to be, let's say $24,000 a year, but we budget human cost to $30,000. It means I have $6,000, which is an ask me thing. If they come to me and say, Mr. Sands, I want to do some training, it's in that, right? Because particularly if you give someone a bonus at the end of the year, they don't know what the bonus is, but you already budget for it. So you just take everything they ask from that and you get what is left as a bonus at the end of the year. Then it means that employees are being satisfied based on your original budget anyhow. So it's just strategies that you use in the human resources side.
I believe that we
Yes,
have a question.
I have a question.
I have a question as well. Sorry.
So Sierra Williams first.
Okay, so I have a question. Y'all spoken about the loyalty aspect of your employees. And when I do agree with what is being said, my thing is this, that I think someone said about giving them money could buy their loyalty. When a person works for your company and you could be the nicest employer, you can be the nicest, the best, at least you feel that you're giving more than you're even getting. For me, I'm a business owner. I have my own business. Persons don't really work for me, but they work in my business. So I have a house that persons who work in my house are self-employed. They don't really work for me. So in terms of, okay, my business, I have a beauty salon. Let me say that. So the persons who work in my store, they're boot renters. They're boot renters, okay? So I'm not a person, I know what it was like when I was a boot renter. And I know what it was when I was working on commission. And I've never wanted to be like my former employers. Never. I wanted to have an environment where persons could have been open, and I would have been able to be understanding to the persons that are the renters, right? But I think too, though, with that, person seems to take it as they could take advantage or they could roll over on you because they feel as if you're a nice person. Oh, she's nice. She don't mind if I owe her this week. Then next week I'm going to owe her and she's not going to ask me for it. And then I owe her for the month, right? And when you as the employer, the boss, not the boss, but the salon owner approaches them, okay, you're back too much. They seem to have an attitude because you're not supposed to ask them for your monies. So where's the loyalty? So you're.
Is your question there?
So.
Go ahead.
No.
Breaking up.
So my whole thing is this. Okay, so now that you have given them the opportunity to be their own boss, you're giving them their own keys, you're doing everything that you would have not having the opportunity to get, but now you're affording them this opportunity, and then somehow it seems as if they're taking advantage of it because it's like you're supposed to do these things for them when in reality you're not. You are just affording them the ability that someone else didn't afford to you. So you're giving them gratitude, but they're not appreciative of your gratitude. So how do you buy their loyalty?
Well,
I mean,
I first of all, the first question I'm going to ask you as the business owner or the most senior person there, do you have a contract, a written contract with these people that specifically states, right, how and when boot rent should be collected? And if you go to missing 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 payments, then what the course of action is. And as small business owners, sometimes we run into problems because we do not spend the time to put these things in formally, right? And let me tell you, employees, they will outwit you if you're the person who don't like conflict, right? So there's like, you know, I used to see when they come back from lunch very, very late in the bank, and they ugly up their face and get mad because now they put you on the defensive so that you don't address them. But as the business owner, you got to know exactly what you're doing. You have to have formal policies written and acknowledged so that when you take the course, you don't have pushback.
Let me see if I can help her a little bit. I mean, the reality of being a business owner or even a landlord, in her case, there is two sides to every coin. You being a businessman have to have two faces. And that simply means that you have to have a good one, and then you have to have a bad one. And what people deem as a bad one, Mr. Burrows is a very nice boss. Some people. The ones I fire, Mr. Burrows is not a nice boss. You have to make a decision and always make a decisive decision that is in the best interest of your business. I don't have time to worry or fret or have a concern. When you want all that loving up, you go by my wife. Wait till she come. When you want to do business, you do it with me. So it's no joke in being business and being successful. You don't pay me, then you don't stand where you're supposed to. And that's simple. So you can't go around worrying about, or you want to stay in business, about how long you're supposed to let them go. You go back to what Chandler say, that you have the agreement. Whatever the agreement say, you know, there's a human part of it where you might be lenient over a period of time, but there come a time when the business after what is the best interest of the business. You have to make that decision, or else you might find yourself a weak boss.
No, Sahira,
well, the thing about it is,
go ahead.
The thing about it is, I do agree with both of you what you said, because that's exactly what I did, because I'm that person. I have two faces. I'm not liked nowhere, and it really don't matter to me. Long as you pay me, and if you don't go by the contract, then you have to go. I don't mind if you leave, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be here and not pay me. You know what I mean? And yeah. I think people take advantage of it all the time because they feel as if, okay, she's so cool, but then when it comes to business, she's a different person. I can't owe nobody, so why do you think that you could owe me? You know, but I just wanted to just like, you know, basically I just wanted to know if I was wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Okay, I just wanted to know if I was wrong, because
what they said to you, Sahira, is that once you have structured protocols, policies, documented contracts, etc., you need to follow through on that to make sure that people adhere to it in the best interest of your business. Ms. Strawn, Aniqua.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I just had first a comment and then a question. My first comment had a lot to do with, you know, where you speak about loyalty from the point of an employee, and I'm speaking from that part now. And I find that you have more drive when you feel empowered. So I can appreciate the comments that Mr. Gerard, Rolle and Mr. Gregory Burrows made about empowering your staff. On the flip side of that, as from the services part of it, where there is, where you offer a service and sometimes the employee is a major part of that offering, where they're doing the majority of the work and the bosses are only adding the overheads and profit, there is sometimes a ceiling that is placed above the employee's head where I think it forces not really disloyalty, but it forces the employee to find other means. Now, I have found honorable employers who are willing to empower their staff, as the two gentlemen would have said. However, I have also encountered businessmen who wish to keep you at a certain level to ensure that they make the overhead and profit. My question can be for any one of you as it relates to business and an entrepreneur, a person who is seeking entrepreneurship, particularly maybe Gerard, you may be able to answer this. How do you then transition from that place of providing the service, being honest and loyal to a boss, needing the networks and contacts, and then branching off into the business?
Okay, thank you, Aniqua, Madam President. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before I answer that question, I just want to thank all of my Toastmasters who is on this call. I have two of my club presidents asked 2 questions. That transition, basically, what it does for you is being an employee, right, and being a committed employee and a loyal employee. What it does, it helps you in the long run in your own business. Because what? You understand the need of an employee, and then you understand the want and the profit margin of the employer. So when you transition into your own business, you will have all of those qualities in you because you would have learned and you would have experienced those over the years, and you would have been diligent and respectful and honorable to all of the things that you would have encountered as an employee in order to be able to manage your own business. And persons fail to understand that to be an employer, you first have to be a good employee.
Right, good, thank you. I get that part of it. And let me be more clear with my question. So you're the employee who has been an employee for a good and a long time. And now it's time for you to make the transition, but you realize that there are some blocks that's preventing. On the other hand, you've met contacts that are related to the boss that don't mind employing you. However, there's still a certain level of loyalty and honesty you want to keep, but how do you build your contacts around that? How do you stay loyal while in the business and honest while in the business? Do you still reach out? You understand? Like the person can be a customer of the boss. However, now they want to side contract with Gerard. How do you maintain honesty and not create a conflict of interest in that situation?
Well, what?
Let me answer that, please.
Yeah,
let me try.
Okay,
let me try.
I want to answer that as well. Yes.
Let me try. You see, I think I spoke earlier about when you have this itch to becoming your own business person.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears as if you have that itch, and you can't have I say you can't have the cake and eat it too. You cannot be on my salary, or I won't allow you to be on my salary, and you competing with me at the same time. It would and forget loyalty. Now you cheating, or some people could go to the extent to say you stealing. But when you have that itch, that's the time for you to move out of the way or come out of that business. And this is my position. It's time for you to move. So I don't think you should put that on their boss or the employer that he's being unfair or he's capping you or not giving you the opportunity.
I think you misunderstood. I think you misunderstood, Mr. Burrows.
Okay.
Yeah, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not speaking about working while I'm working for the employee. I'm speaking about having a desire. I think like every employee starts off with the desire to eventually become empowered. Yeah. But now you've reached this place of wanting now to transition. Of course, like I said, there may be some men like Gerard that knows that at a certain point you have to let go of employees and allow them to go free on their own. But now as an employee that has been as an employee that has been employed by you for so long, you want to keep open connections and a point of honesty to say, this is my time of transitioning. I know we may have common contacts, because that sometimes the employee becomes better than the boss, if you be honest, if we're providing the majority of the service. So now you want to keep that open contact to say, an open, dialogue to now say, hey, we now share the same contacts. I'm now transitioning. But then there isn't always that receptiveness.
Ms. Strawn,
I think you should just be honest.
Ms. Strawn, I can, let me make a stab at that. Well, first of all, it starts with knowing your business, right? And I'm the entrepreneur now who has this excellent employee, right? If I am a wise entrepreneur, and let's just say my business is a specialized business that is providing a unique service to the community. Now, if the market for this service is very small, that does not allow a lot of competition, and then I have this ace of an employee, as a wise entrepreneur or employer, I should be considering certain things. Either I'm going to put in what is called a non-compete clause in his contract, right, which prohibits him for a limited of time with competing with me, or B, I may say at some day I would like for this fella to have partial ownership in my company, and I can offer him that. Or we could talk about possibly allowing him to have a franchise of the business. All those kind of things, but it depends on the nature of the business, on the market that the business is in, because it might be, I don't know, if it might be a business where I could tell him after he has achieved such a level that, listen, it's great having you here. I support you as you go out on your own. The market is big enough for both of us to coexist. Go with my blessings. So it all depends on the nature and the components of that business, how you would handle that. But if I had an ace of a person working for me and I was getting to the point of retirement and I want the business to be an ongoing concern, I think I would put on the table an offer to have him buy into the business. Just me.
Okay, thank you. That's valuable, because I'll also become an employer someday, and I'll put that non-compete clause in my contract.
Those are very important depending on the type of business. If it's a unique service, to prevent him from stealing your clients.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you.
No more questions from the floor.
I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
So along the lines of Toastmaster and Anika Strawn's question, excuse me. Okay, so let's say that there is no clause that says or prohibits the person from working for another company for a period of time. And because they are so good with your clients, when they branch out on their own, they poached your clients. How do you deal with something like that?
There's nothing you can do.
Nothing. Yes,
nothing. Nothing. The best service provider wins the clients if you do not put something in place.
And well, my point on that is, you as the employer, you should have a good rapport with your clients. Whereas, even if the employee venture on their own, the client will have that, will probably have that respect to say, okay, how about I, giving an equal some of the work that I've been offering to you, and being a good employer, knowing the kind of employee an equal was, you will say, okay, it's no problem. You can offer certain contracts. And so you kind of split the business into two. So now this one client now is giving you business and giving her business. Now she's growing as an employee or a new entrepreneur. So what that does for you is you can say that this individual, you help them to expand their horizon. We're not here to keep everything for ourselves. It's always, you have to pay it forward. We have to understand that we did not do this on our own. So we need to pay everything forward. So if you're someone in that role who want to expand their horizon, by all means, I will gladly welcome it. I will find ways to assist that person, and at the same time keeping my clientele, even if I have to defer some business from that client to an equal. And that's all it is.
Thank you.
Greg, you smile. Is there a question or a comment?
No, just saying thank you to Mr. Rolle for the answer.
Okay. Greg?
Hey, let me, first of all, I enjoyed the night, but there is some reality for some of our young people who have this desire to be in business. And there's some brutal moments in time based on the type of business that you find yourself in. And there's some hardcore business people out there who have no desire to share. Have no desire.
Yeah.
So we ought not to fool ourselves, all right? And if I wasn't on this thing, I would have really tell you some business operation and skills and things that go down in business in our country and even in the world. It isn't as pretty as it look or it appear to be. I know of individual who a fellow worked for him, open up a business at a particular location, and he told him that you leave me, I don't like how you live, so you will never succeed.
Yep.
These things exist, and we ought not to fool ourselves. Very few people willing to share business. Very few. And nobody want their sales or their revenue to fall. So a good employee, even my business, to open the same business, may not be sharing the same pie. My thing is, I have no plans of competing with you. What my plans are is to make sure you don't compete with me. And I know this fellow opened a business. He bought a building for over the market price and opened up identical business to make sure that those fellas didn't survive. And he was successful in doing so. So we have to be mindful, and we have to have an open mind towards what we do and how we do it. Business is war. It's flat out war. And your friend is not your friend when it comes to taking in that dollar. That's reality. Am I correct, Keith? That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? Nobody's your friend. I am not allowing my manager to leave me and split my $100 revenue and say, because he was a good manager. Now, he could leave me. You better make sure I'm making 150 when he make the 100. So we ought not to fool ourselves. We could sit here and we could talk, but this is a real fight. It's a dog fight also.
You want to comment?
No, I agree. I agree with Greg.
Okay, guys, believe it or not, we've been going for about 2 hours.
What?
We want closing comments from our panelists. Starting with you, Keith.
Say again?
Closing comments.
I was thinking about something. So you caught me off guard. Like I began, as we started, business, it isn't easy. It has its rewards. You need to have the stickability. You have to remain nimble, able to switch and turn as necessary. You have to stay relevant. And you need passion. Passion is the key, I believe. Passion is the key. You must find a void. You must find that void, and you have a passion for it. And I think you'll be okay.
Gerard, closing comment.
Closing comment. Well, what I would firstly say that, if you have a desire, act on it. Don't let fear be a catalyst to your decision or your desire. So remember to act on your desire and your passion. And whatever it is that you want to do it to the best of your ability and strive to be successful in the way you accomplish what you need to accomplish. Success is not about dollars and cents. Success is achieving what you desire. Its ultimate goal is success. Thank you.
Greg? Final comments, Greg.
Oh,
Greg?
listen to me. Okay, I didn't hear you. Sorry. Listen to me. Like everything, like life, there's an expiration date. There's a drop dead date on everything. Learn what that date is. It have a lot to do with age. Learn to pivot in business. Know when to fold, like Kenny Rogers say, know when to fold the hand. And I say again, age have a lot to do with it. And that folding and that pivoting could be, or that could take on couple different phases, meaning that you bring in new family members, you bring in new partners, but you must try and learn when to pivot and learn that there is expiry date to everything you do. Thank you very much for having me.
And finally, Troy.
I think what is very important for anyone who wants to venture out on this journey of entrepreneurship is to realize that it is truly a roller coaster. If you want to stay in the little teacup safe world, then it's best for you to stay on a job. But if you're prepared to take the risk of riding a roller coaster and experience all sorts of experiences in your life's journey, then venture into entrepreneurship. This means that you will be tested to the core of who you are. It's not just a money thing, it's a time thing, it's a psychological thing. It tests your relationship with people, how you're able to cope and deal with stresses, everything. If you want to be refined as a person, which means you would have come through the fiery tests of all tests, then I would encourage you to join this elite group of people who keep the economy of any country going, called the Small Business and Entrepreneurs of the World, of the Bahamas. But be forewarned, right, that every aspect of your life, of your being, will be tested. And there's some good parts too, right? But those are all undergirded with the tests. And if you're prepared for that journey, come aboard. Otherwise, stay away.
The discussion has been lively, insightful, and certainly thought-provoking. I want to end with a statement by Walt Disney. He said, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Let's pursue our dreams, let's pursue our aspirations, and become entrepreneurs if we are called so to be. Thank you guys for a lively discussion, and I turn over now to our president, Mr. C.J. McKenzie.
Well, thank you very much, Philip. And I want to give a special thanks to our panelists who did an excellent job at conveying their business experience and thoughts and mentality and mind frame for those who are interested in how they do what they do. How is it that these gentlemen have multiple businesses that do well and succeed when others struggle? So I want to say special thanks to Brother Troy Sands, excellent contribution. I won't forget the roller coasters, ups and downs if you decide to go into business. Brother Gerard Rolle, who speaks about not letting your fear stop you, doing what you have to do and make sure it's your goal. Also, thank you, Mr. Greg Burrows, for reminding us of the expiration date in life. Sometimes we go on and on without thinking about exactly when will this end. And also lastly, Brother Keith Science, to remind us that passion is the key. You all did an excellent job. I also want to say thank you to our host, Master Philip Gray, who has once again delivered a very successful panel discussion. Philip, I think that the next business we go into, as mentioned, will be one of a radio or talk show host. That's what we need to do.
That's it.
Don't tell lies on live stream, man.
You did an excellent job. And I also want to say thanks to our technical staff, especially Mr. Oliver Lynch, for making sure we got everybody in, everybody out, mics muted and unmuted. I also want to say thank you to our wonderful audience. Y'all could have been doing so many things this evening and decided to support our event, the Holy Cross ACM branch. Special thanks also to Canon Peter Scott, our rector, for joining us. I know he's usually busy every Saturday and getting his mind frame ready to deliver a powerful sermon in the morning. So I want to thank you for gracing us with your presence, along with our other ACM members in our branch, Holy Cross. In addition, we had many members from other ACM branches throughout the diocese. I want to thank you for coming. And thank you for everybody that shared a part of this momentous occasion. I will remind you that this is the second part of our 3-part series. We end with a final discussion next weekend, which will be very juicy and enticing, and which we will be discussing the role of the husband in the home. We have some great panelists lined up. Some have been married for 20 years, 30 plus years, and we have 2 gentlemen that have been married for 40 years. So those of you who are interested in seeing exactly who put up with who for 40 years, I would invite you to make sure bring you and your spouse, or if you're considering getting married, to know exactly what is the real deal when it comes to being married. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'll now ask our chaplain, Brother Ken Mortimer, to close us out in prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask that you send us forth with your blessing, knowing that we are now inspired to climb to the next level. Be with us this night, Father. Give us peace and a restful night. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Panelists, don't move.
I didn't see you all who won't go to your bed.
Hey, Phil, I do have one question for the panelists off the record. I hear y'all mention about the Bahamas having such great business opportunities. Would y'all mind sharing 1 or 2 of those great business opportunities for those who are looking to go into business?
Well, we're talking long term. I mean, you can't jump into stuff that I'm going to be talking about right away. But, you know, I have been an advocate of pushing the maritime sector to be the 2nd largest sector in the country for many, many years. So this is something that needs to happen at the governmental level. But there's so much more that we can be doing here. I just give you one example. I had to bring in inspectors. Every vessel here, right, needs to have inspectors and surveys done annually. I had to bring someone in from Trinidad to do a underwater inspection on a vessel there in Nassau Harbor, right? Because we don't have Bahamians who seize that opportunity to be qualified. Simple stuff like that, right? Hundreds of them done every year. And we're bringing in expats to do them because we haven't seized the opportunity. So a part of what we need to do is to start training our people based on the jobs that are available right here in our country.
Thank you. I do have a question for Keith's answer. Before I say that, what I find commendable about you 4 panelists, having spent a lot of time being around church and different other avenues and activities, what I find most interesting about you 4 is that y'all are particularly keen when it comes to money management. Y'all don't waste money or invest poorly. I watch y'all. I watch persons who don't make anywhere near the amount of money that y'all make, spending frivolously. But you guys, when you talk about it,
you know much
I recognize how y'all spend very, very wisely, and y'all know that. So I want to commend you for that. I have a question for Keith. I do recognize that a lot of y'all have multiple streams of income, or to the whole panelists. You don't have to tell us exactly what all you do, but in conversation, one day you will be talking about one business you're in. The next month you started another business. Before the year is up, you started a third business. Same thing with Gerard. Same thing with Mr. Burrows. Same thing with Troy Sands. How is it that you guys keep moving in this type of economy where a person's struggling to find one good business venture and y'all getting into 4 and 5 in 1 year?
Well, Mr. President, we use the word diversification, or you have to diversify. And even though when people have a new business, they thinking, oh, this you making $100,000 a year profit, $1 million a year profit. For me, I'll venture in small businesses where yield small dividends, and then at the end of the day, if I have 10 businesses and each yield a 10% margin, then I get 100%. So I don't need a business where I have to be submerged in that business on a daily basis to gain some sort of income or some sort of profit. And I think one of the panelists said that if you have a business where you have to be merited and be at the best, I think Keith said this at every back end movement, then you ought not to be in that business. You need to be able to divorce yourself and do other things and still gain something from that business, whether maybe $1 that day, but that was a profit. After you cover all your expenses and you was able to put $1 in the bank, that's a profit. And that's how I look at my businesses. I look at the small margins.
And Mr. President, Gerard.
I think Troy said it. Troy said earlier, you own one outright, and then you partner in the others, and that keeps several lines of several streams open.
Well, in addition to that, if I may, Mr. President, here's the problem why more people are not entrepreneurs in the Bahamas. We have an idea, and there might even be a void, but we want to do it all by ourselves. I had to tell someone the other day, listen, 100%, owning 100% of zero is still zero. So if you have a vision, there's a void and you're unable to bring that to fruition, you need to find partners.
Yeah.
Otherwise you die with that vision and that void is still there. So we have to think about that. 100% of zero is still zero, but you may have 50% of something very great that could be significant.
Exactly.
Mr. Burrows, I see you smiling.
Just know who you're going to business with.
Well, I've been in business with, I have several partners over my career and my time in business, and it's not always easy to have a partner or partners, right? So what I did is I made my family my partner. I went into business with my family. Down to my 10-year-old son have a role to play in the companies that I have started, and that's they are my partners. So technically, that's what it all boils down to. But we need to have other persons involved in your business. Now, if you find outside loyalty and partnership, and so be it. But for me, I was not fortunate in that aspect. So I decided if I'm going to partner up with anybody, I'll partner up with my family. So any business I go into, I make my son is the CEO of the tour company. They make the decision, him and my wife. I just tell them what I want, and I say, if you all do it the way you all want to do it, just bring it to me and let's see where it goes. And that's the reality of it.
Interesting.
CJ, you're gonna be my partner, man. Don't worry.
Hey, thanks for the invitation, man. I was waiting for one of y'all to invite me on.
Anytime. You was a good guy.
Hey, but Philip, one thing I always notice too, though, is that the conversations that you have with different persons, you can tell where their mind frame is. When you're in the company of Gerard, Keith, Greg, and Troy, they are always talking business. They're always talking about opportunities. There's always talking about plans, objectives, as opposed to being in the company of others where is just no meaning or merit to it. And you know, Greg would always jump and push some politics in there. But you're really in their company, and we've gotten the chance to spend a lot of time being a part of the branch with so many different activities and functions. You really hear them talking about a lot of business opportunities and ventures. What that means is their mind frame, they see opportunities where most people don't. So whereas, you know, they can look at something and see a golden opportunity, where someone can look at something and see nothing whatsoever. And so it's just the way that these gentlemen think on the panelists that I find to be very admirable, something to embody.
But you know something, CJ, the thing about it is it's all about the environment you're in. You know, I like to throw things out there to get people feeling in their reaction. So that might be one of the things that you say, throw politics. I ain't big on that. But when it comes to business, if you hang out with a lot of business people, I mean, other than shooting the breeze, that's what you talk about. If you hang out with lawyers or doctors, you know, I guess they'll talk case studies and stuff like that. So I guess it's your environment itself. So when you get into it, like I put it to you that all four of us right now have so much bills that connected to our business. Just like Joneses, in some cases, you can't stop. If you stop all of them and rush up on the back, you jump on your back and you're buried. You know what I mean? So you have to go out and find fellas like you who have that aggressive mindset and the youth to make sure carry the thing on and then change, just give you what you need to survive. And hopefully you give me something what I need to survive. And that's my mindset. That's the way I think about things like that. You know, just find young fellas. And my thing is to find young fellas who share and who have that desire to be a businessman, and then you have to try them. Most of the time they have it in their head and they say it, but they don't really mean it, because when they get into it, they don't put the time into it, because when I go home after, they won't go too. But you understand? So you have to find somebody who won't wait 24 hours. And if you could find that person, then you got somebody you could really share your business with. Because with putting somebody in the business, when you don't do that, boy, it's hard to take it back. You give it to a fella, then you have to buy it back. You know, so when you're around a group of people, you talk and you feel them out, and then take a couple months and a couple years for you to really understand people. And when you understand them, you say, boy, that's my man. You know, so being around a group of people will determine who your conversation. And I think that's what you've been hearing from us, like you say. But gents, I want to leave
Gerard, we can't hear you.
I was asking, has the ACM Council on a diocesan level ever considered a mutual fund or amongst ACM members, or just some business venture where all ACM members can contribute and become partners, so to speak, or buy shares in a diocesan-wide initiative? Has something like that ever been discussed?
There's some cooperative type style stuff, I guess you're talking about it. You know, I guess that's the way that works. I don't know. But anyhow.
Yeah. Hey, Philip, you had anything to say to the panelists? Anything else before they dismiss?
I want to go.
I think Philip got kicked off the call. Eh?
Yeah. Gerard, you were saying something quickly?
You're still muted, Gerard.
Oh, sorry.
Still.
No, I can hear him.
I don't know, I keep getting muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was just alluding to what Greg was saying, and you know, if you remember vividly, just a few weeks ago, he and I, we was walking on a Saturday morning, We talked about, surrounding yourself with like-hearted, like-minded people. And to be successful in anything you do, you have to have persons around you that have the same aspiration that you have, who's going to motivate you, because ain't all the time you can motivate someone. You need someone to be able to motivate you. So if you surround yourself with those type of individuals, then the sky is the limit for you. And I want to say to you, CJ, I think in your regards as a leader, you have surrounded yourself with like-minded persons who want to see greatness, want to see this organization and this Holy Cross ACM to be great. And that's why you are seeing the benefits from what you are experiencing. And it's easy for you to have a person buy into it, because why? You inspire them, and then they likewise inspire you.
Good night, gentlemen. Mr. President, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, just to address Ken more question. The ACM Council has had discussions about venture into business, but has never really been developed. So it's something that we probably need to engage in more discussions. One of those businesses, Ken, that we talked about was trying to offer like some type of church tours. Of course, that's going to be heavily generated with tourism. But to offer tours of the historic churches. And we always looked at maybe retired ACM members could assist with that. So hopefully, be able to develop that. That may be something soon coming. But yes, we continue to look at ways where the ACM as an organization could venture in the business to generate revenue.
That's a really good idea, because we also looked at that on the touristic side.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Ken, can I ask a quick question on that, Ken? As if the ACM is looking at doing something like that, are they going to form a committee where individual business entrepreneurs be a part of that to develop that idea? Because I know we all know that an idea it's just not an idea if it's not executed. So are we going to form a committee where like-minded persons who have the experience and the expertise to see something like that to fruition and make it happen? Is the ACM looking to do something like that, or form some sort of committee, or it's just amongst the ACM board members?
Well, certainly. I mean, we in the ACM organization, we have a talented amount of members, right? I mean, look at this panel tonight. What an awesome job! Just business-minded, business-oriented persons. But certainly, anything the ACM does from the council level, we engage a committee, to brainstorm. Right now, this thought is just it's in the infancy stage. But I just thought I would mention it and give an example, because more and more asked the question. But certainly, we will definitely form a committee once we get the ball moving. But of course, with the pandemic, it has delayed a lot of the ventures that we were looking to get involved with.
Hey, Ken, I'll suggest something to you if you all want to, I guess, rebirth that idea, is to go with more say and start by doing some saving fund or funding, so that a lot of people could participate before you try and launch it. Because you would then run into a situation where fellas who have more money than the rest will buy into it. Like Troy will end up 1.5 for it. And it will have the opportunity for the other group of fellas, so, but if you allow the fellas to pay into something with for example, you say the ownership is $1,000 for 20 fellas or 100 fellas, then you give everybody the